Welcome to the Visible Entrepreneur Podcast, Season 5. I'm your host, Michelle Lewis, founder of Visibility Vixen. I've spent years studying color psychology, branding, visibility, and publicity, all geared to help you hit your goals faster than anyone else. I'm a TEDx speaker, Amazon best-selling author, and have helped thousands of entrepreneurs worldwide with their visual presence. This season, we're diving deep into color, why it's needed, how to use it in your branding, and how audiences subconsciously and physically react to it. My goal is to help you blow up your brand in the best way to attract your ideal audience subconsciously. I run 2 programs, the Color Course and the Visibility Lounge, so if you're ready for growth, go to visibilityvixen.com to get started today. In the meantime, let's dive into today's episode, and if you think this is a topic that a biz bestie or a friend of yours or even a relative would love, do me a favor, forward it to them, and let's dive into this episode. Hey, and welcome to episode 2, season 5 of The Visible Entrepreneur. Today, we're going to be talking about color personalities. I love this. I know a lot of other people love this. Every time I chat about color personalities, people get so excited. They're like, well, I think I'm a yellow or whatever. And what I found is that it's just as important when you're figuring out your color scheme to analyze your personality as it is your ideal client's personality, because it actually is the perfect blend of both that will help you come to the best decision. So what I want to chat about today is what are the main 4 personality types with those colors so that you can start getting your brain juices flowing, start getting excited about this kind of concept, because I found that sometimes when people are having a really hard time with their color, it's because they don't really even understand themselves enough, what their strengths are, what their teaching style is, and how they relate to their ideal client. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to dive in. Before we do, if you have not taken the color quiz, I highly recommend it. This is going to help you understand if you are on the right track, if you need to do some rebranding. It's going to give you some clarity. It's only going to take you 2 minutes, so I'm going to link that below. If you're listening and you're already on Safari and like, can you just give me the link? visibilityvixen.com/color quiz. Okay? All right, so we're going to dive in. This is Carl Jung's theory on color personalities. So if you want to look that up on your own, you absolutely can. I will be including a graphic for your convenience, so you can see that below inside of the show notes. But specifically, I want you to look at what are called the 4 psychological primaries. And those are red, blue, green, and yellow. You may have already known that. That might be new to you, but all that pretty much means is that each one of those colors hits the body in a unique way. That's it. And because as we know, we are multidimensional creatures. We're physical, we're emotional, we're spiritual, we're mental. Color affects us in the same way. Specific tones of color, which is in its scientific form, frequency, hits our different aspects of self in different ways as well. So if you study color medicine, this is a really fascinating phenomenon. You don't need to know it for today's lesson, I promise. But I think it's something to note because it's something that a lot of us are not aware of. But you can do pretty incredible things with color. Certain people wear certain colors during the week to give them energy or motivation or connection or peace. So it's really fun when you start getting more into this concept because you'll notice your daily choices changing. And it's like if I'm going to meet someone new at a coffee shop, I'm most likely going to wear purple because it's the color of relationships and it's going to help them to feel more connected to me. So it's just really interesting what you can do with this. So let's go over the 4 main types. Like I said, we have red, blue, green, and yellow. So depending on where we lean, and you've probably done this with the archetypes or the what's the one that has like the INFJ and all those different personalities, the 16 personalities test. So we're going to go through these. If you are a red personality, you are more assertive, strong-willed, purposeful, bold, decisive, positive. I would say sometimes positive. I think driven is more key for that and can be a bit more demanding. So if you have a more naturally aggressive and bold personality, you are most likely a red. There's nothing wrong with any of these types, okay? I'm a red, so don't get upset. All right. If you are a blue, and let me just say, if you're a red, you're more on the extroverted and thinking side of things. Okay. If you're a blue, you're more on the introverted and thinking side of things. Kind of like two sides of the same coin. But if you're blue, you're a bit more analytical, objective, detached, unbiased, more formal, more cautious, more precise, deliberate, and questioning. So if you tend to, I am kind of between these two. I have to say red because I'm a bit more assertive. But if you are a little bit more, I don't want to say emotionally detached, but you're not necessarily when you're making a decision, your emotions don't really come into it a ton, right? You're more like, okay, give me all the information and I'm going to make the best decision for everybody based on that information. Make sense? Okay, so let's then go more towards the introverted and feeling side of things. Remember, we were at thinking with red and blue. Now we're going to be at feeling. So if you're green, you're going to be more feeling and introverted. You're going to be more still, tranquil, calming, soothing, caring, encouraging, sharing, patient, and relaxed. Make sense? You're going to be more on the kind and caring side of things. You're going to be a little bit more peaceful in the day-to-day. That is more of the green personality. Then on the opposite side of that, but still in feeling, is more the feeling extrovert, and that is yellow. Yellow means you're more sociable, more dynamic, more outgoing, more demonstrative. You're an enthusiast. You're cheerful, uplifting, spirited, and persuasive. So because you're more on the extroverted side, you have some similarities to red where you're more, persuasive and outgoing. You're just more on the feeling side of things than the thinking side of things. Whereas if you're green, you're feeling but introverted. And if you're blue, you're thinking but introverted. Kind of making sense? So we've got kind of more of this powerhouse in the red that's more extroverted and thinking. We've got more of the intellectual in the blue, which is the thinking and introverted. Then we have the more caring and warm as the feeling introvert. And we have the more emotional and outgoing in the feeling extroverted of yellow. I hope that that's making sense. I know that's a lot to take in. Feel free to rewind if you want to take some notes. But what's important about this is I want you to figure out what is your most dominant. Now, some people go through this and they're like, oh, I'm a mixture of 1, 2, and 3. I'm like, no, what's your primary? You gotta pick one. I get that we all have aspects of all of these, but you need to pick one. Because, for example, if you have been marketing your business as a yellow, light and optimistic and cheerful and outgoing and all these things, but you're really a blue, you're more intellectual, you're more introverted, there's going to be a natural problem with your brand, right? And what we're going to talk about next is identifying our ideal clients. If we're thinking that they're reds, but they're greens, our marketing is going to suffer, right? Branding and color psychology works hand in hand as the foundation to then lay your house, those building blocks, with visibility and then publicity. So we have to get this right because this is the core of our visual presence. In order to get that right, we have to be able to understand ourselves really well and our ideal client. So decide on the one thing that you are, and then I want you to identify the primary color for your ideal client. Now, a lot of people say, okay, well, I tested for red and then my clients are yellow. So are my branding colors red and yellow? No, this is just the basis for you to start understanding correlations and for you to be able to more powerfully understand your innate gifts, your ideal client's innate gifts. Okay. So start thinking about it, figure out, okay, where do my people land? So for me, I'm more of a red. Sometimes I instinctually think I'm more of a blue, but I took this, I gave it to the people who are closest in my life, and they're like, who are you kidding? You're a red. So sometimes we need an outside perspective to get a little bit more clarity. So who do I attract? Who are my ideal clients? Of course, I have a mixture of all of these, right? But I tend to attract more of the green and yellow. And if I had to choose one, I would probably say the yellow, because I do tend to attract people who, once they get these keys, their business explodes. And it's because they're much more outgoing with their visibility naturally. So once we're able to tweak a couple things, once we're able to get some of the tech organized, because they're usually not organized at all with tech, then they're just like, they're a racehorse and off they go. Of course, I get some more of the greens too, but I would say primarily yellow. So this exercise is to help you understand yourself a little bit more in your business and your ideal clients a little bit more. That way, as you go through the process of answering these different questions about them and yourself, you're going to have some good stuff to pull from. If you're thinking, Michelle, I'm more on the getting started side of things or in the pivoting my business, so I'm not super clear on my ideal client, time to start looking for people who you think would be ideal clients and getting them on calls and talking to them and getting to know them, right? Don't just send them this picture and be like, hey, what do you think you are? Right? Because sometimes people don't know and they don't measure themselves accurately. So we want to make sure that this is accurate, and this is going to help you as we move forward in this season of the Visible Entrepreneur. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love if you would share it with a friend. If this is something that you have found your results for, please let me know. Tag me in Instagram stories, save this image, throw it up, let me know. Send me an email or join the Visible Entrepreneur Facebook group. We would love to hear what revelations you are taking away. And if you're ready to jump into this and completely rebrand, if that is the step that you know is next for you, either launching or rebranding yourself, please join us in the color course. You can find that at visibilityvixen.com. We would love to have you. This way you can get this analysis done and you can be launching your brand in 30 days or less. In the meantime, more fun questions and exercises we have ahead this season. I'm excited to show them all to you. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. I hope you loved this episode as much as I did. Now, we're all about building a tribe here at the Visible Entrepreneur, so be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and then head on over to the Facebook group. It's a great place where you can practice your video, live stream, and really enjoy the community that we have built. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next episode. Now get out there and get more visible.
That's a wrap.